We are back and up and running again, and tonight's podcast is brought to you by Cafe Vida, located on 19th North 6th Street in Allentown. It's a nonprofit that offers a unique space to eat, drink, and gather. You want a better cup? Check out the coffee shop for the community, Cafe Vida.
It's Elliott! It's picked off! It's picked off! It's Tracy Porter!
All right, we're going to kick this episode off with some NBA coming around the league. But first off, we want to welcome our second guest on the podcast. We have Preston Shoutout, all the way from the Navy, the Florida-Georgia line borderline. Want to say hi, Preston?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. So we got LeBron James, who passes MJ yesterday playing his team. He now has the all-time points list, 32,311 points in his career. What do you have to say about that, Dad?
Do you guys think that he's the GOAT? I still don't. I don't think he is.
I think when people compare him to Michael Jordan, I still think Michael Jordan's the GOAT. I think for our generation, like me and Preston, that we are growing up watching our Michael Jordan. I think someone said it good was when you look at LeBron James and the Lakers, if he was the GOAT, they would be winning. Preston, what are your thoughts on LeBron James right now, passing MJ, and is he the GOAT of our generation?
I would say I would have to agree with you, Ty. I would say he's the GOAT of our generation, obviously. I mean, we never got that chance to really see MJ play in his prime, and stats don't lie.
And he's never lost in a championship.
I do agree with that, and that's what I'm going to bring up is LeBron's all about stats. His numbers matter. But when you take account of other stats, MJ takes the cake. I mean, being 40 years old and being the best player on the court, I don't think LeBron's going to ever match to that.
But the thing is, too, is Michael Jordan only played 15 years in his career. LeBron, this is his, 16th season? So he had another whole year. And he came in at a time when you can come right out of high school where, back when Michael came in, I don't think you could do that yet. Michael went to college, and, they're starting to change the rules again where they're going to open it up to 18-year-olds again.
What is cool is that, when LeBron first met MJ, he said it was like almost meeting a god, and he wanted to live up to him. He wanted to have his own shoe. He wanted to dunk like MJ. He wanted to be, and now like he's surpassing all that. I mean, it's definitely awesome that we're able to witness this because, we always hear you guys got to witness Jordan do all this great stuff, and now we're witnessing that as our generation, which is a cool thing to see. But like Preston said, when you compare him, I still think I'd take Jordan any day.
My thing about, and Preston, you could chime in at any time. My thing about LeBron is I don't want to say he's a cancer of a team, but how many coaches has he had fired? He doesn't play defense. He doesn't play defense until like the playoffs. That when he gets to the playoffs, he kicks it into a whole nother gear.
But that's MJ all year round. Everyone talks about how well of a defensive player LeBron is. Then tell me why MJ has 9 all-defensive first teams and LeBron only has 5.
Oh, I agree with you.
Tell me why Defensive Player of the Year goes to MJ one time and LeBron has 0. Like that to me, defense is going to win. You take James Harden into effect, that's why James Harden is not my MVP this year. That's why Paul George is my MVP. It's LeBron comes in, and because he doesn't have shooters around him, wants to automatically change the team.
Yeah, and I'll agree with you on that. I think Paul George is having a great season, but LeBron coming back from his groin injury, this team is only 3-9. They're 14 games out of first place. They're 7 games out. What was that?
But you don't need to make first place.
No, I know. They're 7 out from the playoffs. I was just saying, but it's like you said, it's almost like he's been a cancer to this team. Everyone was hyped to play with him.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the Lakers' biggest problem, number one, it's coaching. I don't think they have a great coach. I don't think Walton is a good coach. I don't think he was a good player. The front office is horrible. They put nothing around LeBron. LeBron himself is a problem. That whole team is a mess. I mean, Rondo sat on another whole section of the bench last night by himself.
I mean, he was with the celebs on the other side.
The excessive expectations for this whole team. As soon as LeBron went there, what was the first thing out of their mouth? They thought, oh, the Lakers are back. Well, it's the 6th year in a row that they're going to miss the playoffs. It's because there's no pieces there. There's no other All-Stars on that team.
Now, I'll say this. Love him or hate him, LeBron is an absolute, great player. You have to give him that.
Oh, absolutely.
I think when he came to LA, that was a big spark because LA was, just a young team. A lot of people came and played with him. I think what really happened here is, right before the All-Star break when he wanted AD, when he said all that stuff about they should have accepted that trade, I think you lost all that unity. You lost that chemistry with the team, and I think that was a big cancer right there in general.
Look, LeBron, he's going to pass Kobe Bryant for the number 3 spot on the all-time scorer. He's only 1,332 points behind. So if he comes back next year and just averages 16 points, he's going to pass Kobe Bryant. So he's a great player, don't get me wrong. But is he an all-around great player?
I don't know. He's been struggling lately.
The telling tale is going to be next year at the free agent market when you have all these big names available again. Who's going to jump ship and go play with the Lakers?
And I don't think – I said this the other day. I said if I was a rookie in the NBA, I would love to play with LeBron. That'd be the coolest thing ever because we looked up to LeBron. But if I was a rising star, kind of like what Kyrie's situation was, I wouldn't want to play with him. You're not going to get the ball a lot.
Even as a rookie, I wouldn't want to play with him. Because think about it. If you're not good your rookie season or he doesn't think you're as good, he's going to get rid of you. And that, to me, why do that? Like, take Trae Young. I think Trae Young's having a great year. I think if he was playing with LeBron, he wouldn't be doing as well as he would be.
Yeah, like kudos to LeBron James. That's an amazing milestone to have. I don't think it's going to work out there. I don't.
But if you look at all those top scorers on that list, it's people that all they did was shoot the ball. They never really passed the ball.
No.
Even Jordan himself, when Jordan got hot, he was the main player. He was the go-to guy. He always got the final shot.
I will give this to the Lakers. Besides LeBron James, who's averaging about 27 points, there's only 2 other guys that are averaging over 10 points per game. I'll give him that. He doesn't have a lot of help, but you're LeBron James. You're the best of this generation. You need to form that team together and make that team happen. The Lakers, even when they had Shaq and Kobe, they weren't. I mean, sure they won championships, but they weren't a good team. The best Laker team goes way back when Worthy was there. Magic Johnson was there. Kareem was there. That's when that team was good. You had a bunch of players on that team who made all-star games, but they were a team. There was no all this animosity and all this fighting and all this arguing. It's just a cancer on that team. And that's where you saw it go downhill is when this team fell apart. You could tell they're playing well, but there's no team chemistry there at all.
Oh, Preston, you mentioned Trae Young. Who do you think is getting Rookie of the Year? Him or Luka?
I think Trae Young deserves it. Yes, Luka has had amazing nights. He's made amazing shots. He's done it over James Harden. He does it consistently, but he's also, I don't think he's not an all-around player as Trae Young is. I think Trae Young is better distributing the ball. I think he's a better shooter. And I think he might be playing a little bit better defense than Luka.
Luka, I mean, don't get me wrong. Luka's a great player. I don't think he has any of the weapons here yet. I know they made that trade with the Knicks, but I think they're going to be an up-and-coming team. I think they're going to get a bunch of pieces, hopefully, in the offseason. I think Dallas will be back. I don't know. I have a feeling that I think the Sixers made a big mistake. I think Jimmy Butler's gone, and I think Tobias Harris might be gone.
Yeah.
Which, if they lose those 2 pieces, could you imagine how bad that Sixer team's going to be? And could you imagine if Simmons jumps ship and goes to the Lakers?
I just wanted to say before we get into the Sixers that I agree with Preston on Trae Young. I think that he's proven a lot of haters this year because there was a lot of people that thought he shouldn't have even been drafted that high. But
He's too small.
Yeah, but if you look at this past month's stats, I mean, I think it was 3 games in a row he had 30 points. He's been playing really well. I think that he deserves Rookie of the Year over Luka. That's just my opinion. I think he's really proven the haters this year. But yeah, like what you're saying to the Sixers, if we're getting the Sixers, I'm assuming right now. Is that where we're going now?
Yeah, you can go anywhere you
want. But going into the Sixers, like you said, there's a lot of big names on the Sixers right now, and you have Harris, you have J.J. Redick, and you have Butler, who are all free agents next year. The Sixers have the money to sign all these guys. It's just a matter of if these guys stay. Because you got to think in the long run, you still got to get Embiid and Simmons back.
Well, it just goes to show the Sixers, without a big center, I mean, they're struggling. And they struggled again last night. They should have beat the Bulls last night. And right away, after the game, there's tension again with Jimmy Butler. Cursing and carrying on. That's why I think he's gone. He's 30 years old. He's going to want a max deal.
Yeah, and Harris is only 26. That's why I think you go after Harris right away.
Absolutely.
I think with Butler, there is a lot of drama. I think it's awesome to have Butler on our team. He's a great player. He plays well. He passes the ball a lot, too, which is a good thing. But like you said, there's a lot of drama with him lately. And, him curse at the coaches and always complain. And I feel like he's going to want a max deal at the age of 30.
Send him to the Lakers.
Yeah. I'd rather go after Harris and Redick again. J.J. Redick is lights out for us every year. I'm surprised we didn't give him a bigger contract last year.
Now, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. I have been since I was born and raised. But I've seen Jimmy Butler my whole life. I say Jimmy Butler was great with the Bulls. He's one of the best defensive small forwards. Or when he was with us, when he played small forward, now he's playing shooting guard with the Sixers. Now, I do say, I don't think he's the main problem. I think he sees the work ethic that's being put in by some of the younger players, such as Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons hasn't developed a jump shot. Ben Simmons can't shoot the ball. And the fact that he might not be working on it in practice, I mean, Ben Simmons spent the whole offseason hanging out with his girlfriend instead of forming a jump shot.
But you think about it, though, Preston. At 6'10", he really doesn't need a jump shot. I mean, that guy, he's great with the ball. He's got great vision. And if you look at that team, it's almost like watching street ball because they have so many guys on that team that can bring the ball up that they really don't have a true position if you think about it. Even Embiid, he's not a true center. He's always out on the top shooting threes, bringing the ball up at times.
I agree with you on that one. He is 6'10". He doesn't really need to shoot the ball. But at the same time, if you're going to play point guard, in my eyes, a true point guard, you should be able to shoot the ball. I mean, I can compare Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook's a point guard, but he can't shoot the ball. And him go hand in hand. Ben and Russ go hand in hand. They both can't shoot the ball, but they can distribute the ball. And defense, it could be lackluster at times. It's almost like they pick and choose when they want to play defense. Joel Embiid, I mean, thanks to Steph Curry, he's been wiping out the center position, so that's why it's not really a true position because all centers should have to be able to shoot the three. And Joel Embiid does it the best, I think.
Well, the nice thing about having a Simmons at 6'10", he's going to be usually outsize the guy that's going against him. And with him backing down a smaller guard and working inside the paint, he's opening up shots for like Tobias Harris, for Jimmy Butler. He's opening up James Ennis, all these guys that can shoot the three. Even T.J. McConnell's shooting. I think he's shooting almost 50% from three-point range this year. But if they learn to coexist together and play, I mean, you're starting to see it a little bit, but guys like J.J. Redick, man, they can have a huge night with these guys driving to the hole and kicking it out. One
thing that I will say here is I think that the whole game in general is changing. You don't really see a lot of small point guards anymore, like Iverson. I mean, Steph Curry's pretty small, but you see a lot of bigger men that don't even shoot the three as much, like Russell Westbrook, like Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, Preston, like I'm kind of like agreeing and disagreeing with you. I would love to see Ben Simmons develop a jump shot. I think he'd be almost like a LeBron James. You think about it, because if you think about how easy he gets to the rim and dunks on people, I mean, he puts up over 20 points out shooting a jumper.
But you know what? The other night when the game was on the other night, they showed from back in high school him shooting three-pointers. But
I mean,
then
he used to. I think he's nervous to do it, though.
But then they showed his motion on how he shoots now. And it's almost like he forces the shot out. He's not coming through and following through at the wrist. It's like his elbow's out to the side, and he's just pushing the ball out, even when he shoots his foul shots.
Yeah. I just think this game's changed. I mean, you have a lot of centers nowadays, too, who are shooting threes. You didn't see that a lot in the back in the days. You have a lot of centers who, I mean, Joel Embiid leads the Sixers in points. He's 27 points a game, and that's because he's shooting so many threes.
Back in the day, you had Akeem Olajuwon, you had Patrick Ewing, you had Shaquille O'Neal. Those guys were strictly in the paint, posting up, turning, and dunking.
Yeah.
Couldn't shoot foul shots worth a lick, but that's what they did. Now, I mean, you see Joel get the ball. What's the first thing he does? He turns towards the defender and tries to dribble past him. If he would learn to back guys down and use his size and his nice shot that he has, man, that guy could easily be averaging 30 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many fouls called nowadays, too. But one thing I will say is, how the game has changed. The one downside is almost everybody wants to shoot the threes nowadays. I mean, how many times do you see a team go down the other side of the court, and almost everyone's lined up at the arc, maybe pass the ball one time, and then they shoot and miss? That's where I will agree on you. I wish that they would drive, and I like shooting the three and all, but like a Joel Embiid, I know he can shoot the three, but bro, you're almost 7 foot tall. Go dunk. Go block up on someone.
Well, nowadays, look at kids going to the gym. That's why I say Curry kind of changed the game in that aspect of everyone having to shoot a three, is because kids nowadays go to the gym and that's all they want to do. All they want to do is shoot threes. That's it. And I mean, it's not necessarily bad for the game, but at the same time, you're going to take away a true center and a true power forward.
Yeah, and I would definitely say that Steph Curry's almost like a one-of-a-kind. Like, when's the last time you saw someone like Steph Curry just come in the league and he makes three-pointers like it's nothing?
All right, last podcast we had fun, and we picked our World Series favorites, and we picked our World Series. Let's do it for basketball while we have Preston on the phone. Out of the East, who do you guys like as the favorite? I mean, Milwaukee right now looks like they're untouchable. You got Milwaukee, you got Toronto, you got the Pacers, the Sixers, the Celtics, the Pistons, the Nets, and the Heat right now. And Orlando is actually they're only a game behind the Heat, so that's still open there. Who do you guys like in the East?
I mean, I would love to take the Sixers. I think the Sixers will go far. The thing with Milwaukee is I think Milwaukee is really good this year. I think when they get to the playoffs, they don't really have that elite shooter. They have Giannis, but
well, they have a good team around them.
And I know, but I know they have a good team. But I think if they end up playing Toronto, Toronto can shoot the ball. I don't know. I think Milwaukee's having a lights out season and it's awesome for them. I just don't see them winning at all. I want to say it's going to come down to either Toronto or the Sixers. That's my pick right there.
Milwaukee, they have Eric Bledsoe. They have a couple good guys on that team. They have Paul Gasol. They have George Hill. I mean, Ersan Ilyasov's there.
But Ersan's, he's not shooting like he used to. I mean, even for us, he missed a lot.
But they still have a good team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Middleton is a shooter. I mean,
they have a really good team.
Well, who do you think, Preston, is going to win the Eastern Conference?
So I'm not taking either of those teams. Right now, the team I'm going to select is currently 5th in the Eastern Conference,
Boston,
9 games behind. I'm going to take the Celtics. Why? Because I don't think the Celtics are going to lose in 7 games. I don't think a team is going to be able to handle the Celtics in 7 games, especially if they could turn it on, if they figure out what's going on, especially after Hayward's night the other night. I mean, for Hayward to have a night like he did the other night, I think that's great for him. I think that bodes a lot of confidence for him. And I think defensively, that team is going to figure it out. Kyrie, he's an all-star point guard. It's Kyrie. He's going to do Kyrie things.
Yeah, but the only thing...
Remember the shot in Game 7? I mean...
The only thing I see bad about Boston, and believe me, I think the East is wide open. Anyone can win.
It's good this year. No one thought it was going to be good.
Boston doesn't travel well. I mean, their road record is 500. So if they end up starting a series, say, in Milwaukee or in Toronto, it could be in trouble because those teams have great home records. I mean, Milwaukee and the Raptors combined only have 12 losses at home. Milwaukee only has 5. Yeah. So, I mean, they're tough places to play come the playoff time.
I picked Toronto and the Sixers, but Boston is one of those teams that Boston's a scary team because, I mean, the Sixers never even beat Boston. Like, it's always Boston. Boston gets hot, And they have some scary players in that team. Like, they can win it.
Jason Tatum. I said it the day he got drafted. Jason Tatum is going to be something for them. No matter who is around him, he's young and he's good. The kid is good.
He is good. I mean, Boston has good players. I think there's a little bit of drama going on with Kyrie right now, but that team's good.
I think, and I'm not picking the Sixers. I just think if the Sixers are healthy, I think they can go far. I really do.
Yeah.
As long as they play together. Now, Joel's been out for a while now. They said he was going to be out a week. So that messes with the chemistry. But I think they have the weapons to go far.
Yeah.
But to win it all, I don't know.
And I'm not even picking the Sixers because I'm a Sixers fan. I just think, the moves they made to get Butler and to get Harris, I think they have a good team right now to make a good run at it.
I think Milwaukee and I think Toronto might be too much. I mean, Milwaukee's 12-1 in a division.
I mean, I said Milwaukee's a good team. In the end, I don't think they're going to win it. I think they're going to not choke, but just not win at all. All right, well, let's move on to the Western. Preston, you got something to say?
I mean, Celtics do have to play Philadelphia one more time. So you're going to see that matchup. That could be a possible playoff matchup.
Oh, yeah, the way the bracket's set right now, they'll play each other.
Exactly. So right there, I mean, Wednesday, March 20th, you're going to see they're in Philadelphia. So you're going to see the Celtics travel to Philly and play in Philly. So that should be a good matchup.
And let's not forget that Boston just beat Golden State.
Yeah, but let's face it, the Sixers almost beat Golden State without Embiid. So,
I mean, they didn't have Klay Thompson, though.
The only thing good about Golden State, didn't they just pick up Andrew Bogut?
Yeah.
And
They did.
and he just had an amazing year where in Australia?
The Sixers wanted him.
Yeah, so that's a big pickup for them.
I know.
I do have to say, just because Klay Thompson is not on the court doesn't mean anything because they still have unlimited weapons. I mean, you still have Boogie Cousins, you still have Draymond Green, you still have KD, and you still have.
Oh yeah. No, I know. I was just saying because he said Embiid was out, but Klay Thompson was out for them, so it was like kind of like a even out thing.
Well, they're saying that Klay Thompson, he could be one of the guys that jump ship and go to the Lakers next year because his dad is. I don't know if he's a bigwig with the organization, but he's somehow affiliated with the Lakers.
That'd be cool.
All right, let's move on to the West.
The West is tough. There's a lot of teams there. I personally am rooting for Oklahoma. I think Paul George is having an MVP year. I think that team in general has the potential to win that. But I think what James Harden did for Houston to keep them alive was lights out too.
But Oklahoma is another team that, it's like the Nationals in baseball. They always have a great season to get to the playoffs. Then they're gone.
Yeah.
I would love to see them put the whole pieces together and get there.
It's cool to see Denver in the 2 spot there.
And you know what? The West is so close. There's only 2 teams with 40 wins. Golden State and Denver. And then after that, only 2 games separate the 3 seed all the way down to the 8 seed.
And I'm shocked the Clippers got in. Like, they really made a good run there at the end.
That's because they're playing together as a team.
Yeah.
Even they've come out and said it together. They've been playing together as a team. I mean, that's the big thing. Houston Rockets, I think the Rockets are one and done. I don't think the Rockets are going to be able to carry out. I don't think James Harden will be able to carry the load through a 7-game series. Because once you play someone for 7 games, you can figure out a way to take that person out of the game. And I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think the Rockets have what it takes. I think they're missing that last piece. Chris Paul is not healthy all the time, so you can't depend on him to be in the game. So my pick would either be the Nuggets or the Thunder. And I'm taking the Nuggets because the Nuggets have surprised me. Nikola Jokic leads the Nuggets in every single stat. But I think they're just young and they're hungry. They want it.
And to add on to what you said, Preston, is I actually will agree with you on what you said about James Harden, because Kobe was interviewed the one day, and he said what James Harden is doing is absolutely amazing. He's keeping his team alive in the playoff runs, but once a team plays in the playoffs, all they have to do is box out Harden, and they got nobody. So like he's playing really well, but like you said, Preston, all it takes is for people to take him out of the game, and you need a healthy Chris Paul. Then who knows if he's gonna be healthy?
Look what the Sixers did to him with Corey Brewer. They put him all over him, and he couldn't handle it. You know, he still scored his 30 points, but
yeah, I mean, he's a great player.
the rest of the team didn't shoot worth the crap.
Yeah.
I think this is the year Golden State's done. You know, I don't see them going to a championship this year. No.
I see them making the finals.
Yeah, I think they'll be in the Western Conference Finals. But I think, like you said, Preston, I think it's going to be the Nuggets or the Thunder. And I hope it is the Thunder. I really do.
I'm rooting for Westbrook and Paul George. Like I like watching them.
I'm not much of a Westbrook fan. I'm a big Paul George fan. I think he made a wise decision to stay. And, that, I mean, once again, that really shows what kind of player LeBron is. Because, I mean, PG could have left and joined the Lakers, but he didn't. He decided to stay with the Thunder, and I think that really shows what kind of character he has, but that also kind of shows that he didn't want to play with LeBron in a sense.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I think if Paul George went to the Lakers, I think the Lakers would have been a lot better, but I think it was smart to stay with Westbrook for a second year there and build that chemistry even further.
Right.
Who are you picking? Did you say who you're picking?
I said it's going to either be out of the Thunder or the Nuggets.
Yeah. I would love to see Houston go far. I don't know why. I like to watch Houston. I'm rooting for Oklahoma. I think that Golden State, I'll give them credit. I love a big Steph Curry fan. I love seeing Golden State succeed. It's just I like to see these teams kind of like newer teams in there. So I would love to see like the Thunder go.
I don't want to see Harden go. I'm not a big fan of Harden. I don't like guys that flop, that fake the fouls and that whole step back thing. I think that's garbage. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of him.
Yeah.
I mean, what irritates me about James Harden is that he gets fouled every single time. It doesn't matter what it is, he gets fouled, and then complains when he doesn't get fouled. So that to me just shows, like, when you shoot 18 free throws in one night and you are consistently shooting 12 and above, that makes no sense to me. Because you have other players that want the same treatment and they're not getting it. But because he puts up 45 almost, I mean, he put up how many 50-point games already this year?
They're ruining the game. I mean, they really are ruining the game. I mean, all you got to do is drive down the lane, throw your hands in the air, and lose the ball, and they're calling a foul.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times guys are standing there with their hands are in the air, and they're blowing the whistle.
It's a little ridiculous.
I think they should let them play a little more.
Yeah.
Play in an era where Shaq was in his prime. Shaq would not let you come to the rack like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, back in the day, like they drove into people, like it was violent, and like I'm not saying it should be violent, but it's annoying almost to watch sometimes. All you gotta do is drive to the rim anymore, and you're gonna get that foul almost 75% chance of the time.
Exactly.
Moving on from the NBA, there's some breaking news in the NFL today. The Redskins are getting Case Keenum from the Broncos. They are actually reworked that contract to a one-year deal, and they're splitting the $7 million guarantee. Your thoughts, Dad?
I don't know what to think. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Casey Keenum. I guess Alex Smith, I mean, it's not looking good for him to even come back. I mean, he had a bad injury, bad infection. I mean, he's got to worry about his leg and worry about other things than football. But I don't think Casey Keenum. I don't think that's the answer there.
So I feel bad for Alex Smith. Okay, Alex Smith, he was having a decent year last year. They were in first place, which is what matters. What was funny is RJ3 tweeted out after this deal was announced. He tweeted out, "That's definitely what the fans wanted," which is true. Because if I was a Redskins fan right now, your team doesn't have many pieces left. You have Josh Norman, which is a big piece, but like you're almost rebuilding. I would have went in the draft and got it with the best quarterback available, possibly Kyler Murray. Trade up and get Kyler Murray. Case Keenum had a great year with Minnesota, and that's good and all, but he finished in the low top 10 for QBR among the quarterbacks.
And they traded him for a 6th-round pick.
That's like a slap in the face,
Washington's
too.
getting a 7th-rounder plus Keenum. That I would rather go with Colt McCoy that they use. I think he's a better quarterback than Casey Keenum. Preston, your view.
It is what it is. I think it helps the Redskins. They have a quarterback for this year, so I do think they are going to go get a quarterback in the draft. It wouldn't have helped. I mean, either way, the Broncos were going to have to get rid of Keenum either way, or try to get rid of him, because now they have Joe Flacco. I mean, do I think Joe Flacco is what he was? No. Do I think Joe Flacco deserved all the money in the world? No. I think a defense won that championship for him, but that's besides the point. But I do think this helps both sides. Broncos unloaded money so they could possibly get someone, and now the Redskins have a decent quarterback to work with.
I just think there's better. I think there's better options out there, though. I mean, they could have easily got Teddy Bridgewater, or
they could have got Kaepernick.
Kaepernick, yeah, or they could even went after Johnny Manziel or someone like that. Oh my.
So one thing I think about is if you look at Case Keenum, okay, he had 15 interceptions last year. I don't think the Redskins were going out there looking for their franchise quarterback. Like Preston said, they got this for a 6-round pick. This was a cheap way of just filling in that hole right now while they probably go out and find a franchise quarterback. Because let's face it, they could have went out and got Tyrod Taylor for all we know. They could have got. There's a lot of quarterbacks that they could have got for their next franchise quarterback. When I think about it that way, was this a smart move? Probably for 6-round pick. That's nothing. Just to fill a hole. Who knows if they'll even use him?
But Keenum's career numbers are 26 and 28. He's got 12,661 yards passing total, 64 touchdowns, and 42 interceptions. I mean, they could have easily went after Teddy Bridgewater.
I know, but like I said though, like they're in their minds, they're probably gonna go draft a quarterback. This was just a minor setback to fill in a hole. Like Preston said, it's just throw someone out there.
I would rather have Blake Bortles than him.
I don't know about that.
But you know what? You know what the problem is with Washington? Who's he throwing the ball to?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to bring up as the next point. I mean, he had Emmanuel Sanders. He had up-and-coming guys. He had Philip Lindsay out of the backfield, Cortland Sutton. He has Demaryius Thomas for a half a year. He had guys that he could give the ball to. He doesn't have that. He has Jordan Reed, who can even play a whole season. I mean, and you have an old Adrian Peterson. You don't have all the weapons.
I think all they have is that young Harris guy, and he didn't even play that well last year.
No, he didn't.
Well, Golden Tate's a free agent. Maybe they'll pick him up. But they were talking about picking up Antonio Brown. I don't see
Raiders.
I don't see him going there.
I don't see Antonio Brown going to the Redskins. That'd be stupid. I mean, first of all, he'll probably sit out again with Case Keenum as the quarterback.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's the Raiders, Redskins, and Titans are the teams that he's possibly going to go to, and I could see him going to the Titans. And that would probably be the best fit for him. You're working with a young Corey Davis. You're working with Marcus Mariota, Derrick Henry. They have a decent defense. So I do see him going more towards the Titans.
Yeah. Listen, we're gonna move on from the Redskins. It's just a minor setback. They're trying to fill in that hole. Moving on from that,
we got to talk about the whole Arizona.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
We got to go there because this has been the hoopla for the last couple of days. Everyone's saying that Josh Rosen is gone. That they're me personally, I think it's crap. I think they're building up that pick, and they're going to trade that pick away for they're going to get a lot in return for that pick.
In my view, I think it's a lot of talk, but I think on draft day, a lot of things happen on draft day that if they get the right call, I think they'll pull that trigger. I think Rosen's a good young quarterback who can develop into a good quarterback, and I think the GM likes Rosen. I think they like Rosen. But I think if they get a good enough trade talk, I think they'll pull that trigger. I really do.
I will say that no one has talked about Nick Bosa in a while. And
he's going to 49ers.
I still think Nick Bosa should be the number one pick because if you look at Kyler Murray, yes, Kyler Murray is a great college quarterback. People keep comparing him to Russell Wilson because of his height, blah, blah, blah. Russell Wilson's 225 at playing weight, and Kyler Murray is 196. That is a 30-pound difference when it comes to it. Russell Wilson had the cut weight for the combine to be faster. Kyler Murray's bulking to make himself seem bigger, and I think that's going to hurt him. I really do.
Well, there's a lot of controversy at the combine about Kyler Murray's actually being weighed in and his height and everything, saying that he was 5'10" and an eighth, and they're saying that they actually made him look taller than he really is.
That's crap, probably.
He's actually going to get his pro day is coming up on March 13th, and he will get weighed in, and he will run the 40, and he will get measured again.
He will do all drills. He would do the 40. He's going to do everything that they need him to do. And like you said, he's going to get weighed in, all that stuff.
Which I'm surprised. And I would love to have like Saquon or someone here so we could talk about the combine. Why would you even go to the combine if you don't even partake in any of it?
I don't understand that. Because if you're not even going to participate in the combine, then just don't go to it and just do your pro day.
Yeah.
What's the point of going there just so you can see everyone else? I guess you can go there for the interviews, but I wouldn't even want to do that.
And they said he was horrible in the interviews.
Yeah, you're going to draw attention that you don't want. You don't want attention. If people are already down talking you right now, you do not want the extra added attention on you.
And let's face it, his pro day is going to be huge now. All eyes are going to be on
a lot of pressure.
What he does, what he weighs in at, what his height is, and what his 40 is.
You know, like what Preston said, if I was the Cardinals in this situation, I don't think there's anything wrong with Rosen. I think you take Bosa, that first pick overall. He's one of the best defenders in this draft. I think you take him. That's what a lot of reports are saying. You take Bosa at number 1. I don't understand why you wouldn't take him at number 1.
But my thing.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Preston. Go ahead.
Because Chandler Jones, yes, Chandler Jones is getting older, but Chandler Jones has just had 30 sacks in the past 2 years combined. That's a great stat. The second is DeMarcus Lawrence. But this defense is on its downslope, so now you got to start rebuilding that defense. And I think Nick Bosa is the perfect place to start, especially if he's the brother of Joey Bosa. They train together in the offseason. They're working out together, and Joey is giving him tips. I think it's the perfect draft pick for the Cardinals.
And look how it ended up for the Chargers. The Chargers didn't have much of a defense. They got Joey Bosa, and now that defense is booming.
Exactly. And, yes, Joey did hold out a little bit, but at the same time, he got what he wanted. They both got what they wanted. And now that defense, I think that defense can carry the Chargers a long way as long as that offense stays healthy.
Go ahead, Dad. I know you wanted to say something.
I just think that if I'm Arizona, I think you trade away. If you can trade down a few spots, say you pick up that team's first round and you pick up a second round next year. They have almost $40 million in cap space. They could pick up. There's a lot of defensive ends that are available in free agency this year. They could easily pick up somebody, a Dante Fowler and all of them. Those guys that are available. They're talking about trading Ford out of Kansas City. They need offensive line help. They have an awesome running back. They have decent receivers. I think if they can trade down and still get a first-round pick and a second-round pick for next year or get a big package for that number 1 pick, I think that's going to help them. And I don't think Rosen's going anywhere because the GM that drafted him is still there.
And another thing, too, is I still think you take Bosa because there's a lot of defensive stars in this draft, so I don't see a lot of people taking an offensive lineman in the first round. So you could take Bosa and then get a great offensive lineman in the second round.
Arizona has right now they have 39, almost $40 million in cap space.
They can even get somebody in the free agent. All right, so we're talking about the Cardinals and who they're going to take their first pick overall. But if we're talking about this, I feel like we need to talk about the Raiders. The Raiders have about 4 first-round draft picks. They didn't have a great season at all last year. I feel like these 4 picks are very important to them. It's something that could really change this franchise around. Preston, your thoughts?
So I don't think I do think they're going to take a quarterback. And if they do take a quarterback, then I can see them possibly taking a receiver maybe to pair him with. That way they can get some chemistry going in the offseason and during the regular season. But I do see them taking defensive players because the Raiders were all about defense. They got rid of their best defensive star, Khalil Mack. And look what Khalil Mack did for the Bears. So I do think the Raiders are going to take a quarterback and defensive studs after that.
Well, they have. The one mock draft has them taking Locke as their first pick.
The one mock draft I see is that I have seen is Clelin Ferrell. Now, Clelin Ferrell's 6'5", 260. He is the perfect replacement in a sense.
All right, so my biggest flaw is that I feel like the Raiders really just don't like Derek Carr. And if you look at his stats, he did not have a bad year last year. He had no help around him at all. I do not personally think he is the problem in Oakland. I think that, I mean, look at him. Like, what, 2-3 years ago, he was almost MVP if he didn't break his leg. They were going to go to the playoffs. I mean, they went to the playoffs.
Well,
I don't think he's the problem there. I think you keep him and build around him.
Gruden likes him. He does like him. He did come out and say he's a franchise quarterback. I just don't know if he's the franchise quarterback for them. But Preston, here's the one I was looking at. This mock draft here has Kyler Murray going 1. It has Nick Bosa going to the 49ers, which would be huge for them. Dwayne Haskins going to the Giants. And then with the 4th pick, it has Drew Lock from Missouri going to the Raiders.
That could be pretty interesting.
I think
I just don't think it would be smart. I mean, yeah, there aren't that many quarterbacks. Maybe you could find a better quarterback, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that defense needs a lot of help. I mean, you see what one player's impact was. I really don't think, yes, Derek Carr threw for over 4,000 yards last year, and that's amazing. Yes, he had 10 interceptions, 19 touchdowns. So his touchdown to interception ratio is not half bad. But at the same time, that defense, like.
But you think about that though. You think about that though. 19 touchdowns with not a lot of help.
Yeah.
You build around him. That's great.
Well, this draft, this mock draft actually has Clelin Ferrell going all the way down to 16 to the Carolina Panthers.
Listen, I was excited for last year's draft to see who was number 1 overall because it was Barkley. And then all of a sudden, Baker Mayfield. I'm excited to see what happens in this draft, just to see if they even trade or. I mean, Oakland has 4 picks. I mean, I'm going to see who they pick to build that franchise up. It's going to be exciting. I think you're going to see a trade. Oakland could trade 2 of those picks if they wanted to.
Well, they have Oakland for the 27th pick. They haven't taken an offensive guard, Chris Lindstrom. They have them with the 24th pick taking a tight end, Noah Fant from Iowa.
Which I'm shocked because they could just re-sign Cook, who's not a bad tight end at all.
Yeah.
I mean, Cook led them in receiving yards. When a tight end leads your team in receiving yards, there might be a problem. Yes, Zach Ertz maybe had done that for the Eagles, but at the same time, that was Carson Wentz's buddy. That's who Carson Wentz checks down to. Like that, he's the Jason Witten of the Eagles.
Yeah. I think Cook's a good tight end. I think he'll definitely get signed a free agent. I think I re-sign him if you're the Raiders, and you can still draft a tight end. I don't think you let someone like that go. He led your team. Why not keep him?
And what?
Especially wide receiver wise. I mean, Jordy Nelson, Seth Roberts, Amari Cooper's gone back. He's gone back. Not gone back, but has gone to the Cowboys. Martavis Bryant was supposed to be a stud out of college, and he hasn't done anything. He's been getting busted for weed all the time. Like, he's not playing.
Which they're leaning towards actually changing that policy. So they might actually not legalize it, but they might cut down on suspending guys for marijuana.
And I still think Jordy Nelson's a good receiver. Like you could throw him in the slot like Cole Beasley and draft some wide receivers to help Derek Carr.
Who's the slot receiver from Tampa Bay? That's a free agent.
Humphreys.
Humphreys.
He's good. He's real good.
Yeah, he's good.
Especially since Deshaun Jackson. I mean, there were rumors of him wanting to come back to Philly. So I mean, I don't know. It's up in the air all offseason.
Well, let's face it. He wants out of there because, I mean, that was supposed to be a good team, and they haven't done anything with him.
Philly has been making room with their salary cap, so I think they went from like $2 or $3 million in cap space up to like $19 million now.
Mm-hmm.
So something's brewing in Philly, and something's brewing with the Giants because all of a sudden, man, OBJ's on the market. Olivier Vernon's on the market. They don't want to franchise tag Landon Collins. I mean, I think
it's a safety-studded free agent market right now. Safeties are definitely front runners.
Well, look at all the safeties that are available in free agency. Earl Thomas, that Weddle now is available. You know, now Landon Collins, all these guys, but they're gonna, like, the rumor has it they want 11 to 15 million a year.
I don't think Earl Thomas is worth it because of leg injuries. Eric Weddle, he's getting a little older, but Eric Weddle's still good. I do think he's good. Malcolm Jenkins, I don't think he's going to be with the Eagles much longer. So that's another name. But back to what you said about the Eagles, like breaking up and making space. The thing with that is now look at your front four. You don't have anybody to pair with Fletcher Cox in the middle. Haloti Ngata's gone. You want to get rid of Michael Barnett.
Well, they did extend Graham, which is a good signing for them. They needed to do something.
So you got Derek Barnett and Michael Bennett, and they want to trade Michael Bennett. The thing with trading Michael Bennett is now you have no one to rush off the edge and give Graham a break, give Barnett a break. Fletcher Cox has no one in the middle, and you can't have that. Yes, he's great. I love him. But you can't have a missing piece because all you're going to do is run the ball to the opposite side that he's not on.
Well, I've been saying this for the last couple of podcasts. I think the way the Giants are set up now, especially offensively, I think they're only a couple offensive linemen away from being a good team. I don't think Eli Manning is bad. I don't think he's the problem. Sure, he's older, but you look at all the games where he literally had hike, snap the ball, and he has to get rid of it right away because there's no line protection. When your running back has over 90 receptions, there's a problem.
And we talked about that the one podcast. Like Eli Manning's not the greatest quarterback, but his stats last year were not bad at all.
If you look at the time in the pocket that he has, I guarantee you it's probably of the worst in the NFL that he had hardly any time. I mean, he's been sacked so many times, and it's not because of him. I mean, he's a proven champion. They don't have the line, and if they get a few more pieces on that line, I think Saquon could easily be an 1,800-yard rusher.
I do too, and I agree with that. But I will say the proven champion, I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think he was a proven champion. 2 lucky catches, Mario Manningham down the sideline. And
hey, I mean, he won twice.
The sun shines on every dog's ass once in a while. So you know what? He still took him to the championship.
I agree with that. But I personally, yes, I'm an Eagles fan, and I am going to hate a little bit. But at the same time, I don't think 2 lucky catches should be considered, making him, especially when they were horrible throws. I mean, the David Tyree catch, I don't think that was a great throw at all.
I think it's all part of the game, though. But he did play the whole season out. He did get him through the playoffs. Even if it was a lucky catch, the sun shined on him that day.
All right,
he's got something Romo doesn't have.
We're having a lot of good points here. One topic I definitely want to talk about before we end this podcast is you were talking about Odell Beckham possibly being traded, which is crazy because the GM has said multiple times that he wouldn't trade Odell Beckham, because they gave him an extension. But there's rumors going around that the Raiders and Browns are 2 teams that are possibly really trying to go full force in for Odell Beckham right now. Which, if the Browns got Odell Beckham, that would be mind blown. That'd be awesome. He partnered up with Landry, who they were college buddies together. You got Baker Mayfield, a young quarterback who has 2 great receivers now and a good young tight end. That would blow the stands away.
And great running backs.
The only thing that is getting me excited is you have that rumor that came out, and then Landry and Randall and Njoku both tweeted out tweets kind of hinting at like the Browns are making a big trade. And then Odell Beckham, right after that, tweeted out the emoji with the zipper going across your face, almost as if, like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, like, if he goes to the Browns, you got to think, might even be favorites in that division. I might be, like, pushing my buttons a little bit here, but I'm excited for the Browns.
Well, we both...
I think the Browns are a favorite right now.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, you think about it, last year they should have went to the playoffs. If it wasn't for their kicker blowing a couple games early in the season, they easily could have had 9 or 10 wins.
Especially one of those games being against the Steelers in their own division.
And they should have beat the Saints.
They win that game. I did see that game. But against the Steelers, they would have easily made the playoffs and not have had to worry. Especially with now getting Kareem Hunt. Now you have Nick Chubb. Like, you have 2 running backs. And now, yes, Duke Johnson is the odd man out. He's gone. But you still have 2 running backs now that you could piggyback off of.
Well, if they were smart, I would not trade Duke Johnson yet, because you think about it, Hunt, he's going to be suspended. Yeah. It's either going to be 4 games or it's going to be 6 games, but they're investigating him now for 3 different separate events. So you unless he keeps appealing it like Zeke did and rides it out, he's going to be suspended sometime during the year next year.
All I'm saying is that Dorsey is doing an absolutely an amazing job over there. If I was a bandwagon right now, I would be hopping all over the Browns just because of how. I mean, growing up, I've never seen the Browns be good. I think one year with Brian Hoyer, they almost made the playoffs, but that was the only close thing I've ever seen. Like, it's exciting to see what's going on there.
The dog pound's back. I mean, that city is going to be excited for
and
football.
They deserve it. It's been how long before they've had a winning season?
Way back to the Bernie Kosar days.
I will say that I'm on the Baker Mayfield train 100%. Everyone talks about his cockiness, his arrogance. I'm sorry, but I got to say I love it.
He's a good quarterback.
It's a spark. It's a spark for that team, and that's what he was in college. He was a spark for that team. For Oklahoma, he was that spark. He was what they needed. And I think for the Browns, that's exactly what they need. They need that spark. And if you talk to, or if you see what the players say about him, they love him. That's what it's like one of the things they love about him. They love the way he goes out there and plays it hard. Like
I love when people get drafted. Like when Baker Mayfield got drafted #1, a lot of people, said some bad things, saying he did not deserve to be a first pick overall, and yet he comes out and he gives the Browns 8 wins when they have only had like 4 wins over the past 3 years. I love when you see that. I love when you see someone who has low expectations from other people and he just exceeds those expectations.
I think, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 podcasts ago, I said the Browns are going to win that division.
And I agree with that. At least I
agree with that full-heartedly. I don't think the Steelers, because the Steelers, one, they're losing Le'Veon Bell. Like they're going to lose Antonio Brown. All they have is Juju. I don't think Juju is the answer at wide receiver. I think Juju benefited from Antonio Brown. Lamar Jackson has not reached his ceiling. He's still got a lot yet to prove for the Ravens.
And let's face it, if they lose Ben Roethlisberger and he gets hurt, they're done. They don't have anyone. They don't have anyone there that can back him up.
That's how it's always been for the Steelers. I mean, that's how it's always been since Big Ben's been there. They haven't had a back. I mean, Byron Leftwich and Landry Jones, those weren't backup quarterbacks. I think personally they need to sign Colin Kaepernick. I really do. They need to sign a true backup quarterback that could actually play if Big Ben goes down or Big Ben starts to decline through the season.
I mean, they drafted that young guy last year, so they do have young talent there. It's just, I mean, he's never started.
It's unproven talent. I think you're right. I think someone needs to open their eyes, and they need to sign Colin Kaepernick, get him back in the league.
He's better than most.
It stinks that he's been out of the league so long, but the guy can play. He's a proven winner.
From a military standpoint, I'm not going to bring up the politics and all that stuff, but from my standpoint, I want to see the dude play. I don't give a crap. It's football. He's out there to play. I don't care what he does. He's getting paid. If he's going to do that stuff I don't care. Let the man play. He's better than 3/4 of the backup quarterbacks.
I mean, he's better than most. He's better than most of the backups.
He's better than Blake Bortles. He's better. I think he's better than Ryan Tannehill.
He's better than Case Keenum.
Tannehill's healthy. Yeah, exactly. Better than Case Keenum. He's better than starting quarterbacks. I don't get why he doesn't have a job. I really don't.
All right. I mean, we've discussed some really good topics. Preston, I feel like we're definitely going to have to bring you back on this podcast and talk about baseball next time because we had some really good discussions this time.
Well, I think we should end by talking about my Dallas Cowboys. I think they're a train wreck. I think what's going on there, I think with Randy Gregory possibly being suspended again, with David Irvin being lost, and with this whole stupid debacle with DeMarcus Lawrence, I think the Cowboys they're in a bad situation. And, the whole franchise tag, I don't know why these guys just don't sign it. It's guaranteed money. $21 million is nothing to sneeze at, And for DeMarcus Lawrence to say that he's going to hold out and not get his shoulder surgery until like July and then sign the franchise tag, that means he's going to miss the whole season and then get paid on top of it.
Why would you want to miss the whole season too? I know some people, when you discuss this topic with them, they're like, these players deserve to get a big contract to be secured. I get that, but you don't need $100 million. You know what I mean? Like $21 million. That's a lot of money for 1 year.
But this is his big chance to get his big contract. But like I tried to explain to Noah, I don't want to pay a guy that hasn't performed. Sure, his last 2 years have been good years. Last year better than this year. But the guy's had 4 surgeries in 5 seasons. He's hurt again. He needs another surgery. I would trade him. Why pay someone that is a liability? You don't know what you're going to get out of him. I'd rather bring DeMarcus Ware back and play at 36.
I do have to agree on that because, now you guys have found your lockdown corner in a sense. I will say that. I think Awuzie is your top guy. But I agree. I wouldn't pay him the money if, one, he can't prove that he can stay healthy. I personally, if I was the Cowboys, I'm going out and I'm drafting a DN in the draft.
Oh, yeah.
I'm drafting a DN. I would go out, I would look at Clellan Ferrell. I would look at Dexter Lawrence, even though he's a D tackle.
But see, the problem is,
D tackle and DN.
is they don't have a first-round pick. Unless they trade DeMarcus Lawrence back and they can somehow get a 1 and maybe a 2 out of it, or a 2 and a 3, an early 2, they're kind of stuck in the second round.
Dexter Lawrence might fall to the second round because me personally, I don't think Dexter Lawrence is first-round material coming out of Clemson. And yes, they just won championship, blah blah. He wasn't even a part of it because he got busted, or he popped positive, so he didn't even play. But he hurt his hamstring in the combine. But I do say he will possibly be a great fit for the Cowboys.
And another thing that really has me going about these Cowboys is they're talking about giving Dak Prescott $28 million a year,
That's crazy. That's crazy beyond me.
That's more than what Aaron Rodgers makes. And I butt heads all the time with people about this. Is Dak a good quarterback? Yeah, to a point he is. Yeah, he won a lot of games. Yes. But is he a quarterback that throws the ball down the field 40, 50 yards? No. Is he a quarterback?
He doesn't have that receiver.
That's why they brought Jason Witten back, because that's his security blanket.
I just want to give my point on all this then.
I don't think he has a year left. I don't think he's worth $28 million. The Cowboys are in trouble, especially in 2019, at the end of the 2019-2020 season. Awuzie, all these guys are going to be coming up off their freaking contracts. There's going to be no money left.
Yeah. So I want to say, so like if you're DeMarcus Lawrence right now, you know that Dak is about to get a contract extension. You know that Zeke is about to get a contract extension. You know that there's a lot of key players next year and the year after that are going to need a big contract extension. And you have to picture this. Your defense was a top 5 defense last year, and it was a young defense. Now, if you're a smart football player, you go to Dallas and you say, hey, listen, I'm willing to sign a long-term contract for not so much. You want to keep
never happen.
I know you'll never see that happen. But if you wanted your team to stay together and be good and win Super Bowls, that's the type of player you'd want to be.
But see, that's the difference of football of now. Now it's a business. It's all about money. It's not about – there's no loyalty to teams anymore. You heard what –
number one thing is you got to take KD's standpoint. Yes, it's basketball and football, 2 totally different sports, but money is involved. Contracts are involved. KD took less money to keep that team there to win. Now is he going out and getting his money this year? It's about him? Yes, but he tried. He made that effort to keep that team there. And I think if players made that effort, maybe even if it's one season, even if he knows that all he needs is one season to win a championship, you would see a lot more players winning more and more championships together and teams staying more and more together.
But see, that's how it was in the 90s when you saw teams like the 49ers and the Cowboys, the teams that dominated the 90s, they stuck together. They took care of their own. But now that you have these deals, see, I think deals today, they should be incentive-based. And I've been saying this for a while now. You go out, you play so many games, you get a bonus. You get so many sacks, you get a bonus. Stop with the guaranteed money, because you can get guaranteed money and be hurt for 2 years, and guess what? You're paying them.
And let's face it, like you said, there's no loyalty now. Like look
it's
at
a business.
Look at Antonio Brown. He ain't trying to keep the team together. He's trying to make money.
I mean, at the end of the day, do you think Jerry Jones really cares? Deep down, he does. But do you think he cares at the end of the season? Man, the Cowboys didn't make the Super Bowl. No, because you think about all the money and revenue that team and that facility brought in through the season. Why do you think he bought a $200 million yacht?
Exactly.
And that's the sad thing about football anymore. It's not about the love of the game to a point. It's the love of the money. And that's where the game's going. And that's why you see guys like Earl Thomas coming out and saying, I want $15 million. You're 30 years old. You haven't played a full season in 3 years. and you're going to demand $15 million? You know,
I mean,
another thing that's going
Aaron Barry is better.
Another thing that's going to hurt Dallas is you already have Zeke coming out and saying, I carried the ball 300, almost 400 times last year. I want a contract extension. I'm not getting paid what I deserve.
And I hate when people don't even finish their contracts out and they already want an extension. Finish your contract out first.
He's got 2 years left on his deal. And you know...
Well, I will say this, though. Cowboys have been known for that because DeMarco Murray toted the ball a lot. I'll just say that. But now he got his money when he left. But at the same time, you're going to get Zeke. If you want Zeke, Zeke is a game changer. He's a receiving back. He can run the ball. I mean, his highlights are ridiculous. He can do everything. He's almost like a Le'Veon Bell in a sense.
What?
He can do everything for you. That man, and he got the ball more than Le'Veon did. I say that's a guy that you are going to have to pay.
Well, the thing that stinks is Dallas only had 40-some million in cap space, and by tagging DeMarcus Lawrence, 20 of that's gone already. So we haven't even got to Amari Cooper. You know, if the Kansas City's talking about signing Tyreek Hill to a huge deal. Now you're talking
the free agent market for wide receivers.
Oh my God! And if Dallas don't get a deal done with Amari Cooper this year, who's going to play for $13 million, do you think he's going to re-sign? No, he's young. He's like 25 years old. If Tyreek Hill gets $19 million a year, where do you think the market's going?
And let's face it, Tyreek Hill's going to get a big deal. Michael Thomas is a free agent next year. He's an elite receiver, top 5. You know how they're going to break the bank for him.
Football's in trouble.
But the difference is this is where I see Amari Cooper and Tyreek Hill on two different ends of the spectrum.
Oh, absolutely.
Amari Cooper's he's not a returner. He doesn't do the extra stuff. He's a wide receiver. Tyreek Hill's a returner. He does special teams. He does everything. So like that to me, you got to look at what this player brings to you, what he's done for you, and then pay him based by that. That's why I think Tyreek Hill is going to get a big lump sum of cash, is because he's done so much for the Kansas City Chiefs alone. And yes, that ends up shaping the market, but Amari Cooper isn't a return guy. Yes, he makes plays. He's a wide receiver. That's his job. Michael Thomas.
See, at the end of the day, that's not going to matter, because if Tyreek Hill's making 19, Amari Cooper's going to want at least 15, 16. And then that blows the market out of the water for all these other teams.
Amari Cooper is definitely a good receiver. I definitely agree with Preston that Tyreek Hill deserves more and will get more. I think I think overall he's a better receiver. Not shooting down Amari Cooper.
That's what I'm saying.
But see, the thing is like
Julio should be the one changing the league.
Dallas messed up last year. Dallas could have signed DeMarcus Lawrence for like 19. They could have easily gave him a $90 million deal. 19, worked out something where it was getting like 19 a year. Now his cap salary, it went up because he got franchise tagged again, so it's up to $20 million. Now he's going to sit back and say, well, Mack and Donaldson, they got great deals. What's Mack making, like 23 to 25 million a year? Now, do you think DeMarcus Lawrence, who I think is second in sacks in the last 2 years, is going to say, yep, I'll take 20? I guarantee you Dallas would come out and offer him a 5-year, $100 million deal. He's going to say no, because he wants the guaranteed money.
It's crazy. I mean, me personally, I will say this, though. Yes, he is second in sacks in the past 2 years, but Khalil Mack is a total game changer.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous on what that man does. To just go in and leave, come back to go to a new team, and all of a sudden that was the missing piece that defense needed, and he did absolutely everything for them.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. This has been a record podcast for us. We are over an hour right now.
That's awesome. I love sports so much. I could just talk all night. I really could.
But unfortunately, it's almost going on 9 o'clock, so I gotta get to bed soon. But Preston, it has been an honor having you on here, man. We definitely had some good talks today. We definitely gotta get you back on here to talk baseball, because we know you're the Boston fan and we're the Yankees fans, so we could definitely have that rival talk.
That's always great.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have you on again. Maybe this weekend. We're gonna tackle the baseball, because the baseball is really starting to pick up now. You're starting to see more of the starters play.
You're having Josh Donaldson came back. He made a debut today, so that's something interesting to look at.
And Saturday, Bryce Harper's making his debut, and he was
be cool
hitting
to
bombs.
watch.
He actually hit a ball out of the stadium today in batting practice in a simulation game.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. This has been a good podcast. Preston, it's been an honor to have you.
Thank you. It was a great time. I love talking sports with you guys.
All right, man. Have a good night. We're going to end this podcast. Everyone subscribe and like. Keep spreading the word. Get those likes up and get the subscriptions up for us. And
Don't forget to check out our Facebook page, Everything Goes, the Z at the end. This video will be up on YouTube. Our Twitter and Facebook will be in the description. And we hope you guys kill this like and subscribe button, and we will see you guys next time.